friend, all things work together for our good, and that includes our minds and our bodies. Stick around and we'll talk about how all things work together for our good. I'm Ashley White, the host of Joy on the Journey podcast, a weekly podcast all about defining, finding, and maintaining joy on the journey of life. I have promised transparent and vulnerable interviews with women that are making a difference in the world. And this week is a very, very special guest from the south side of Chicago, the Dr. Ashley Devers. Dr. Ashley is the owner of the Body Max, a full-service chiropractic clinic that cares not only about your physical health, but your complete state of being. Dr. Ashley believes your mind and body are interconnected and that by treating the body properly, you will exhibit less stress, anxiety, and experience true serenity. I think we all need more of that. Dr. Ashley, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. Y'all, we all know by now that the first segment is all about everybody's personal definition of joy. So, Dr. Ashley, what does joy look like, feel like, smell like to you?
When I think about joy, honestly, I think about a family picnic. Like I think about like sitting down in like a lawn chair, and you got the card table and you guys are playing spade or bid whist, and everybody knows each other, right? Everybody knows, everybody's kind of like been grown up together. So there's like a deep connection that everybody's spirit is having together. And you're just talking a whole bunch of smack. You're eating some watermelon. Everybody's just relaxing. Nobody's pressed for time. You're just enjoying the moment. To me, that sense of joy is just irreplaceable. And honestly, whenever someone says, oh, just find your happy place, I'm like, it's a beach or it's a picnic.
It's a beach or a picnic.
Yes. So joy for me is just that sense of being in a place where you feel comfortable, not pressed for time, and just being able to be yourself.
So growing up, did you have these huge family gatherings?
I did.
Okay.
I had several, right? So I always, so I have 3 grandfathers and 3 grandmothers. So you had several different like family gatherings that I would be around. And so while each one of them had a different feel to it, it was all still family. And I honestly, like, I even have a tattoo of family on my foot because that is, and my siblings, we all have it together. And so like, for me, family is like a huge root of who I am. And that's where I find a lot of my security and all that. So yeah, me and just that setting of relaxation and just not being pressed for time, that's pure joy to me.
You can relax when you know you're in safety. All your guards can relax. You can let your hair down. You could just be free to be exactly who you are.
Yes.
When you're around people that just know you before you knew who you are.
Yes.
Yeah,
and accepted you before they even knew the full essence of who you were.
Yeah, and encourage you to be all that you are as well. Yeah. So then I wonder, how is it we're in Houston, we're recording this in Houston.
Yes.
How is that separation distance? Prior to us starting the recording, we were talking about, my parents are still in Chicago and we live in Houston. How is that distance? How are you dealing with that separation?
So when I was in high school and everybody was trying to figure out what college they wanted to go to, I did have the desire to travel the world. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go out of state because I got to travel the world, and I'm going to do first stop Houston.
Okay. Wait, what?
Exactly. And so I was like, first stop Houston. My first and last stop was in Houston, but whatever. So I went, and for school, undergrad, I went to school and graduated. And so then it was like, okay, where do you find a job? And of course, like as much as I wanted to go back home to Chicago, it was who was going to hire me first. And, at the time, and I still believe that's true to today, the job market's just a little bit better. And so I found a job here quicker or sooner than I found it in Chicago. So while I've always wanted to kind of go back to Chicago to be around my family, it is hard not to have my physical blood family nearby. I do have some family in Texas. Don't get me wrong. I have my uncles and some cousins that still live here in Houston that I'll go visit. But there's nothing like, your parents, your siblings, and having that. So I definitely treasure when I'm around them. I go there at least once or twice a year, sometimes 3 or 4, but at least, right, ever for the last, I'm not going to say how many years I've been here, but every year just know I've gone back home. And it just makes me really appreciate it. And that's where I think I find that joy, and I can really find that peace, and I don't take it for granted. While, someone else may or may not, but someone else may take that for granted because they see them all the time. And so, like, my parents are just a phone call away.
Yeah.
So, my mom is just a phone call away. And so I just really just try to embrace those moments that I have with them when I go home.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm actually
That's
going
good.
home next weekend.
Some of us are going home next weekend.
Not yet.
Not yet. My mom will be here for Christmas.
Okay.
That is our annual thing. I go there for Mother's Day. My mother comes here for Christmas.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. I want to ask, you talked about going to school. Y'all, if you look up Dr. Ashley's resume, she has all the degrees from all the schools that make you a certified expert in your field. And I am curious, when did you become curious about the way the body works and how it all works together?
Okay. So when did I become curious? I wouldn't say, I guess it is curiosity, but more so like a passion, like, that fire that struck. And it occurred. Okay. So in school, you're growing, right? So you do childish things when you're growing. And I didn't do well in biology.
Really?
I couldn't find, my routine in that subject. So I didn't do well in that class at all. And a part of me, was like, I can't do it. It is what it is. I'm just going to, have bad grades when it comes to science or whatnot. And then I came across anatomy and physiology. Now, I started off not too well in that class, but it was crunch time. And when I tell you, I was like, when like procrastinators, right? Their adrenaline just, strikes like at the last minute. That's what happened to me. And in those moments of me having to stay up late, having to get like, I got this huge expo board, right? And I was like writing, even in my dorm room, like I was writing like different muscles and insertions. And I just was like, this is really interesting. I'm so mad that I spent half the semester goofing off and not really paying attention to this. But just the fact that like knowing the body and understanding how it is that you can stand up out of a chair, how it is that you can run, how it is that you can walk, how it is that you can get in and out of a shower. These are the things that we take for granted that our body just does automatically. So what happens when you can't do it? Like how do you break down each individual movement to strengthen it so that you can get back to doing things of your daily activity that you used to take for granted so that you can do more and powerful things. And so for me, it was just really a spark. And, of course it came from the procrastination thing, but I was like, I've procrastinated before, but it never felt like this passionate. Wow. It never felt like I was like, man, I want more time with these books. I want more time with this subject. So yeah, I just went with it.
Wow. So of all then the medical studies that relate to how this muscle works and of all the physical medical studies, then why chiropractic?
That's a great question. Chiropractic, me and chiropractic have a very interesting story.
Okay, let's get into it.
So I was in martial arts. My mother put me in martial arts because she wanted me to learn how to defend myself if I ever needed to.
Okay.
So in middle school, I was in martial arts, and I believe I was in martial arts, if I count the years, maybe like 6 years. I became a black belt. So, and I was, also an instructor. So I was there all the time.
Okay.
And I got an understanding of controlling your mind, right? Controlling your body, being, in tune with your body and what is going on with your body. Not always feeding it substances that it doesn't necessarily have control over, right? If you can help it. And just really understanding like your breathing, your, and just like even your digestive system, things of that, like paying attention to that. So, in high school, I went to my martial arts teacher. My martial arts teacher, we, sometimes would sit down and talk because he's my mentor and, I'm one of the students as well as an instructor. So he was like, I see you as a chiropractor. And I was like, what is a chiropractor? Like this was, I'm telling my age. It's relative to everybody, but this was like in 2004, 2003, something like that. And I was like, what in the world is a chiropractor? I don't know what a chiropractor, nobody knew about chiropractic.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, whatever. And I just brushed it off. And then later on, I got my undergraduate degree in nutrition, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with that because I got the nutrition because I knew I wanted to be a doctor. I just didn't know what kind. And I would shadow like different MDs, and I was just like, I'm not, not sure about that. And then I shadowed some physical therapists as well because I was like, I really like how the, body works. So I was like, and the anatomy and physiology story, I was like, I think physical therapy like that. I think that's the thing. And so then I shadowed a couple physical therapists, and it just didn't provide that spark for me. I can't explain it other than that. And so then one PT came to me, and we were talking, and she was like, you should probably shadow a chiropractor. And I was like, chiropractor? Mind you, I forgot about the whole conversation.
Right.
With my
Like,
martial arts
yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I should shadow. Okay, fine. I'm shadowing. Like, what am I going to lose? So then I shadowed a chiropractor, and I think he was like late 60s, early 70s, and he was still working. And I was like, why are you still working? Because in my mind, I'm going to be retired by then. And so he was like, no, my family is trying to make me retire. I don't want to retire. I love what I do. I may not be. And at that time, he had finished doing like the, the cracking and stuff, like the physical labor, but he was more into like the plants portion and just like the holistic and the nutrition part. And he loved spending time in his garden, like things like that. And he could still incorporate that into his practice. And in my mind, when I saw that and I saw that he was able to do several different things within one profession, I was like, that's what I want. I want the opportunity that chiropractic provides because we are, the word is escaping me right now, but basically you can come to a chiropractor. You don't need a referral from a doctor. So or for an MD, because we are doctors as well, but an MD you don't need a referral from. So it allows me to just basically kind of it's like the opportunities are endless with chiropractic. And so I just really appreciated that. And I could start my own practice, so I could even explore the spirit of me being an entrepreneur as well as being a doctor and a clinician and being able to do the anatomy and physiology component. I said, this is it. Like, this is the package. This is what I want to do. So that's how I ended up with chiropractic. And years later, I was like, remember you said I was going to be a chiropractic? So well about that. I enrolled in school, and he was like, I told you.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And so I love when things come full circle and how important it is to have mentors that see you before you can see yourself, even before we were able to really fully accept, oh yeah, I didn't know what that was, but thank you for also, he didn't extend pressure. He just gave you an idea. What you did with it was your business.
Right. Absolutely.
And now it is literally is your
my
business.
Good one. I see what you did there.
Thank you very much. I do have a question. You mentioned it earlier. Have you ever experienced any hesitation from people that are like, chiropractic? No, I don't want anybody working on me or cracking on me. How do you deal with the naysayers or sometimes the haters or doubters that between Western and Eastern medicine?
I think you really literally just gave the answer when you talked about my martial arts instructor. I just guide people based on how they are comfortable. If they have hesitations and they have questions, I am there to answer it. If you're not ready, you're simply not ready, and it's okay. If you become ready and you're like, hey, I just need a little, and sometimes I try to read read the room, and I see, okay, are you telling me because you're interested and you just want me to kind of nudge you into the room, or are you telling me because you're just honestly not interested? And if you're not interested, I can totally respect that, because there's a lot of things I'm not interested in doing. I'm not interested in bungee jumping. And you can try to talk to me for 3 hours about bungee jumping. And what's not going to happen is me getting tied up to one rope and then falling off a cliff. No, it's not going to happen. And I hope that you're okay with that, because I'm not losing sleep over it.
Right.
So if you're okay with me not bungee jumping, then that's great. If you are not okay with me not bungee jumping, that's fine too. Either way, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, for me, I just kind of assess to see if they have any questions. And if they have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And then if they just have like, hey, that's just not what I want to do, I can totally respect that.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And so then you mentioned the physical labor of being a chiropractor.
Yes.
I have seen, I've gone to, I think I've had several adjustments.
Yes.
It is very, very physical, or can be very physical.
Yes.
They say, if you've ever gone to be adjusted, they always say, don't worry. We're not going to let you fall off the table.
Yes.
Now, I can say they've never let me fall, but it's a trust exercise every single time. But it is very physical. Mm-hmm. How do you take care of yourself?
Oh, you speak loads. Because how do I take care of myself? Because when you said that just now, how I received it was, how do you take care of your whole self?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Because not only are we in physical labor, but we're also like physical labor, but and it's an energy exchange as well. And so I can easily say, I work out. I think, whatever, you probably
say it. She got the Michelle Obama arms.
Right, come on, Michelle. And I haven't always had these. And so when I saw them, I said, come through. Thank you. Thank you. But, so I do work out. I want to make sure that I'm stronger than the force that I need for the adjustment, because a lot of times if I don't exert the amount of force that's needed, then that force comes back to me and it will hurt me. There's a lot of chiropractors out there that are injured and actually can't practice because they've had either a wrist injury or shoulder injury, or they have back problems as well. So it is actually a very, very important thing that chiropractors take care of their physical body in order to practice this. Now, if you are, I call myself kind of like an Amazon, because I'm tall, right? And I'm strong too. So, but not all chiropractors are my build, right? Especially a lot of females. Some of them are very small and very petite. But then that also kind of drives where and how you practice. So the smaller petite type chiropractors are typically your like family, prenatal, pediatric type chiropractors that deliver adjustments to children and to, smaller women. And so because I just have a little bit more of a build and my passion is more towards athletes, I do prenatal as well. I got into it and I fell in love with it, and I was like, okay, prenatal and athletics. I'm sorry, it's weird, but we're going with it because that's my passion. That's what God gave me, so this is where I'm going. But all in all, it really just depends on the biomechanics of yourself, how you leverage yourself in the room when you're adjusting someone. You do have to use physics. You do have to have the experience. You do have to understand how much force. And some people need a lot of force. Some people don't need a lot of force. So it really just, it's a dance that happens with the adjustment room. But taking care of my physical self, I work out. And I also get adjusted, right? I get adjusted, I get massages. So I am taking care of my body in order to provide the service that I provide for everyone else and hold myself accountable to the things that I say.
How do you prepare yourself for the work? Because as you mentioned, it is very physical, but you are also dealing with people that are in pain. And some that have been in pain for years and didn't know they've been going to this doctor and this doctor and this doctor, and they're coming like, can you help me? Can anybody help me? How do you deal with getting started, taking on the energy or the emotional turmoil that you handle sometimes on a day-to-day basis?
I think over time, it's been just the confidence of understanding and knowing that I've seen this before. I've seen their pain before. I've seen their beginning before, and I've seen their results before as well. And so having the confidence when I walk into the room and saying, hey, I see you. I see that you're in pain. So just kind of having that confidence and letting them know, hey, this is, something that you will be okay. And they're like, really? And I'm like, well, just give me a shot, one step at a time, and over time you'll notice for yourself.
I wonder about this. When you go, sometimes you'll get a treatment plan and it's for so many weeks.
Mhm.
Do you ever get personally disappointed when a patient doesn't adhere to the schedule or when they fall off of the treatment plan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, because like I signed up. Like, I went to school, I paid, I'm still paying, in order to provide a service, but not just a service, but a freedom for people. And so when I've invested into your health, and you begin the process, and let's say you fall off, um, I do feel some kind of way. But at the same time, I also understand that there's so many different variables that are outside of that situation that I can't take it to heart. I can't take it personal, and I can't be mad at you. Right? So let's say you walked in the door. So you're ready to, find the relief. But sometimes it's a work schedule. Sometimes it's, I have the kids this summer, or, it just depends on what it is. And so it's just a matter of providing grace and just being there for someone when they're ready, and just saying, hey, I'm not going anywhere. Whenever you're ready to resume, we can do it. I've had people with like really, really bad work schedules where they can only come on Saturdays. And I'm going to be like, okay, well, if you can only come on Saturdays that we're open, it may take us a little bit longer, but as long as we're able to do something, something is better than nothing.
Right.
And so that's the approach that I take it. And so it's kind of like just working with them, because they stepped into the office for a reason. They want this for themselves as well. So it's just trying to find a balance where you can help them, and then they can help themselves as well. And sometimes if you don't want to help yourself, that's fine too. Like, you can't save everybody, and it's not for me to save. Life is not in my control. It's in God's control. And if I'm not the avenue that he's going to use to get you better, then he'll find another way, and that, and that will be fine too. So I try not to put myself in that situation where I feel like I can control that situation, and I'm just there to help how I can. And if you are able to get that help, then I'm here. But if not, that's okay too. It's all right. It's all love. Like, I don't like drama. I do not like, having like ill like feelings towards someone, and I don't hold on to stuff. I let stuff go. That's why I work out, because that iron gets all my aggression, and that's where it needs to be. It doesn't need to be on people. For what?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me though. I don't know. I just don't like to have that feeling of like tension when I see someone. Like, let's say I see them in the grocery store and I have not seen them, and they're like, I'm going to make an appointment. We both know you're not going to make an appointment.
So, okay.
But it's okay. It's all good. It's nothing but love. So you're good.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much for answering that. You mentioned earlier, and we talked about in the opening, that you are the owner of the Body Max.
Yes.
So you are an entrepreneur. Tell me what that's like, having your own business.
Every day I just want to I'll be like, is this for me? Is this really what I signed up for? I don't know. And everybody's like, ma'am, yes, because if this was not for you, you would not be making the strides that you're making. And so I definitely have to have a support system around me that keeps me just going and pushing. But how is it to be an entrepreneur? It's a struggle. But I try to remember that everyone has a struggle, whether you're an entrepreneur or not an entrepreneur. Everybody's going through something, in their workforce, and it requires them to be strong. And so you have to just draw, you have to, you gotta be strong. Like, just suck it up, put your big girl pants on, and, push through and power through. So being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of different moving factors. And honestly, I think it also feeds into my adrenaline junkie self.
Okay.
Because I'm like, and then everybody's like, girl, sit down somewhere, and I'll be like, okay.
So how important is it to have a staff that you can depend on and can trust to maintain things while you are in the back doing treatments?
It is vital.
Okay.
It is vital to the company to have a staff that I can depend on. But with that, I also have to know that there's a certain level of responsibility on my part to make sure that everyone knows that not only do I support you, but you support me. So it's like it's a give and take type relationship. So they know that if somebody came in, like there was this one person that came into the clinic, and it only happened one time in the last 4 years that I've been in clinic, but they came in and they had a really bad attitude. And I just so happened to be in the front. And I was like, I told the front desk, and no one else was in the clinic, thank God. But I told the front desk to go to the back. I said, go to the back. And I told them, I said, you can't talk to my employees like that. I was like, I understand if you have a problem, you can come and talk to me. You can see, and we can have a discussion, but I can't have you come into my clinic talking to my employees like that. So knowing that the staff, knowing that the staff has my back and the staff knowing that I have their back, I think is extremely important to the culture of what we have. Because like we said in the beginning with the family, right? You have to feel some sort of support, some ability to be vulnerable, because in the back I'm vulnerable in the front. If I'm in the back, I can't be in the front, right? So if they have my back there, and then I'm like, okay, well, when you get to the front, she's gonna say this, so they're already prepped, so she doesn't feel like she has to introduce a whole new topic. So we're all like working together so that everybody's on the same page, and it makes the patient feel comfortable, because then nobody's looking like, huh? Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. One of my final questions. We met surprisingly in the beauty shop probably a couple months ago. And I knew she was coming in, our stylist. Shout out to Suzette. Hey, Miss Suzette.
Hey, Suzette.
And I knew she was coming in because Suzette was...
Savvy Sue.
Yes, absolutely. She was singing her praises. And I was like, oh, man, I can't wait to meet your chiropractor. So she comes in, and ever since I started the podcast, I have a natural habit now. I want to know everything about everybody. So we're talking, and then you asked me a question that has stayed with me because it's challenged me. I was prepared for you to ask me what I did. And instead, you asked me what my hobbies were. And the reason it challenged me, y'all, is because I could not answer the question. So I want to thank you publicly, because since then, I have been on a quest to be able to answer your question, because I recognized that my life had become about the podcast, and it had become very, very imbalanced. So I want to thank you again for making sure that I slowed down to rest enough to understand that God had given me more. While this is a great gift and a passion, God has given me more. And so my hobby, I can now answer the question, is reading. So I want to thank you for that.
Okay, I need a tissue. Oh,
Yes.
Do you have one right here? Oh, so good. Okay.
So now I want
I think you meant it.
So now I have to ask you the same question.
Okay.
What is your hobby?
Okay, so my hobbies, I mentioned working out, going on vacation, and honestly, water. It's so weird, but whenever I feel like I need to recharge,
Yes.
I just need to go around water.
Yes, same.
So sometimes I'll just take a trip and I'll go to I don't go to Galveston, but I'll go to the beach, kind of like Surfside area, and I'll just sit there and I'll just sit in the back of my car and I'll just like breathe in and I'll just look, and it's just so rejuvenating. And so that is, I think not being pressed for time, just being able to relax and just kind of be with your thoughts. I think that is like the strongest hobby that I can do. Now, I also salsa dance, and yes, I love the salsa dance. That's also a really good thing that I like to do.
When I tell you, since that moment, every person I've talked to, I have asked them, excuse me, what's your hobby? Because I am genuinely curious beyond what we do, because that's just an aspect of who we are, right? It's not who we are, but what do you do that gives you satisfaction, that lights that passion, that when at the end of the day, when we retire, because that is my goal, I want to be able to retire, then what?
Yes.
And so,
and how can you sneak it into your life
right now? Right now. And so I want to thank you for that. I am on a quest to, I'm
Yay.
literally, I'm like, how can I answer this question? Not just for you, but for me. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
So the final question is to look ahead.
Mhm.
And I love that you are on this journey of self-love and self-discovery.
Mhm.
Would you dare share your vision for yourself or for your business in 5 years from now?
I've always had the dream, and I think with you asking me this question, like literally right now, it's making me actually like speak it into existence. I've never even written it down. I've always just kind of had it in my mind, but I never like actually spoke it out loud. But I've always wanted to create an avenue for others to experience the type of fulfillment that I feel.
Mm.
And I think with the Body Max, the next step for the Body Max is to really create that avenue for other people. It's given me a lot. It's given me a lot of confidence. It's given me a lot of joy. It's given me a lot of victories, challenges too.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to provide that for other people. And so, what I want to do within the next 5 to 10 years is really provide space for other chiropractors to do what I do, you know, and allow them to grow. I feel like when I was first coming out, I didn't necessarily have the opportunity, and God really just orchestrated it. Like it was just so beautiful how He did it. It was not how I would want it to be done, but at the end of the day, you're like, I see what you did there, God.
Yeah.
All right, I can respect it. And so I just want to make it a little bit easier, you know, for other people coming behind me. And so I think Body Max on the next step is going to be creating that avenue for others. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, thank you.
you're
Oh,
welcome.
we didn't get all sentimental and soft at the end.
Yes!
No, it's beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. If someone is in the Houston area or they're making a visit to Houston, they're like, oh, I need to get in to make an adjustment, or I want to try it for the first time. How can they make an appointment? How can they find out more about the Body Max?
Oh, well, several ways. Well, we are on Instagram.
Okay.
So my personal one is Dr. Ashley Devers. And then also we have Body Max Chiro. So it's at Body Max Chiro. Now, if you're wanting to make an appointment, you can go on our website, which is thebodymax.com. And you can also call or even text our phone number. It's 832-940-9892. I'm going to give it to you again just one more time. 832-940-9892. And that is how you can call or text to schedule an appointment. And we would love to have you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Please, 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 your health is your wealth. Take advantage of the opportunity. Get in touch, especially if you are in the Houston, Pearland, Webster, anywhere you can drive. Make an appointment. Yes, yes, please, please do. Drop in the comments your favorite takeaway from this episode. Let us know what your hobbies are. What do you do that gives you fulfillment outside of your traditional job? What gives you joy? Let us know. Please share, subscribe, and let Dr. Ashley know what you're taking away that she has shared with you that has made your life a little bit better, because she has shared her story with us. And if you are also a black belt, because I didn't know that before today, if you are also a black belt or in search of Michelle Obama arms, maybe she can drop her workout video. Let us know.
I can invite you to my gym. Absolutely.
All the things. We need to have a group workout session. Let's get all that scheduled. But thank you so much, Dr. Ashley. This has been a pleasure and a treat. I get excited every single interview. I'm like, yay, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. But until we gather again every single Thursday, may God increase your joy, grant you strength for the journey, and give you the courage to tell your story. Bye, friends.
Bye.